Hello everyone, myself Vaibhav. In today's session of Visual JForex, I will make you familiar with the momentum indicator named AROON. This is an indicator using which we can determine the trend as well as the strength of the trend. So this is an fairly useful indicator developed in 90s, and this has been quite a good indicator to work with on the Visual JForex, as we can determine the trend and the strength with the single indicator. So it kind of simplifies our setup, and with the help of this single indicator we can do the job of finding out the profitable and optimum trading entry and exit points. From this short description, you can make out that this indicator is made up of two parts. We have two signals, one is AROON up and AROON down, and these indicators are plotted together. These are the formations in a way similar to stochastic, but only in a visual manner. And this indicator, if we are using the AROON up, basically AROON up tries to see and measure the time difference between two recent highs. If suppose if we are looking at the last time period of say 15 hours, then the AROON up will be looking at the 15-hour high, and what is the time that has elapsed between the 15 hours high and current price action. If the high has been made pretty recently, or if the high is made in the current hour, then the value will be at 100. And as the time progresses and more time elapses between the last high, we see this AROON up indicator going down towards zero. And if no swing high has been made recently, then value will go to zero gradually. And inversely, that is the true for AROON down. Here we are more concerned with the swing lows, and we will be looking at the last 25. If you are dealing with the 25 time periods, then 25. Otherwise, if it is 15, then we will be taking into consideration last 15 hours data, and we will be measuring the time between the 15 hours low and the current closing or current low level. And depending on that, the value will be plotted between 0 to 100. And also other way to use it to see if the AROON up is above the AROON down. If that is the case, then the momentum can be considered bullish. Otherwise, if the AROON up is below the AROON down, then the momentum is considered bearish. So in this manner, we can use this indicator to determine the strength as well as the trend of the underlying instrument. Let us go on the Visual JForex platform. There is an Visual JForex board developed by the Dukascopy Bank SA. We can use this to automate our trade systems. There is an indicator block of AROON. For today's session, we will use the start point on candle. Here you have the brief description for the indicator. Then we have to define the input parameters. Depending on the input parameters, we will get the output values, and we also have to define these settings, the price, the side, and the applied price to arrive at proper output values which are usable in the given context. We will also add this indicator on the chart. We have this indicator plotted on the default time period of 14, and this is an hourly chart. So we have AROON indicator plotted for last 14 hours data. And as I tried to explain to you here, we are looking at the highest price level for last 14 hour, and that was the case 3 at 3 GMT. So here this is 3 GMT, and this is the highest AROON up value at 100, and this is the 14 hours high. And now as the time has elapsed between the 14-hour high and now we are not really making any fresh high, so here gradually the AROON value is going down, and if no fresh high is made in next couple of hours, even it will go towards zero. So that is how we use this AROON indicator. And for the bearish trend determination, we use AROON down. As and when AROON down value goes to the 100, that is an indicator of the fact that new swing low has been made for last 14 hours. And if the formation continues, if in successive hours we get new swing lows being made, then this AROON down will continue to hover at 100. And whenever the trend changes, we will see the side, you can say levels getting shifted in between these AROON up and AROON down. Here this crossover, this happen quite frequently. Here we had this crossover when the AROON up shot up above AROON down, and this was indicative of the fact that bullish momentum is gaining pace. And then we also went on to see new 14-hour highs being made. So here the value is at 100 for AROON up, and the AROON down value is also going down. So this is the way to use this indicator to determine the trend and the strength of the trend. For that, we have to choose the default instrument, the instrument on which we want to develop the algorithm. Here you have the listing Euro USD to all other currency pairs which are supported on the JForex platform. You can use any of the underlying instrument. If we use say Euro CHF, we can do that. Okay, for today's session we take Euro CHF. I will change it on the chart as well. So here we have to find the Euro CHF, Euro against the Swiss franc. Okay, I got it. So this is the Euro CHF plotted on the hourly time frame, and here we have these AROON indicator also plotted for last 14 hours. Now you can see that as the momentum has been on the bullish side, we have this AROON up indicator continuously hovering above AROON down, and only here we had this trend change as the price dropped. But then, as I said, this only after taking into consideration last 14 hours data, and this chart is of hourly time frame, and we are looking at last 14 candlestick period. So here the value indeed goes on to drop below current price action range, and that's why we see this trend change. And as soon as the price action reverses the course, here the indicator also reverses the course. So it will keep us with the trend. We will get the swift turnaround whenever the price action moves. The AROON indicator is also swift to change its course. But one thing that arises because of this, because of the highly sensitive nature of this indicator, is that during the range bound movements and the consolidation phase, we might see this trend change happening too frequently. So we have to guard against that as well, and we have to see what is the strength of the trend and how the formation is working. And also we have to adjust the time frame also. If we want to take the longer time period data, we can do that. That will add more heft to the system which we are developing. So let us edit this, and more stability, if we choose 25, the plotting will look like this. And we are now dealing with the highs and lows for last 5 hours, and that has made this indicator a lot more stable as the longer time periods are involved now. So here there is the chart being plotted on hourly time frame. So here we also have to change the variable. Now the time period of the candlestick can be anything starting from 10 seconds to a month. So depending on which time frame you want to develop your automated setup, you have to choose the time period accordingly. Shift is the look back period if you are going to compare the indicator output values for different time frames. Suppose if you want to compare the current output values to say the output values a couple of hours back, then all you have to do is put that value of whichever hour you want the data to be taken into consideration in the shift block, and we will have that output for that particular time, and we will be able to do the comparison. So for example, if we write 3, then the output values which will be fetched by the indicator block will be the output values 3 hours back for AROON indicator defined on now here we have to change this time period also 25. So here this indicator block will be gathering the data for last 25 hours. Now we get these output values, and these are going to be used in multiple ways. You have to put these output values in the if-else statement. You have to take the if blocks, and to define the conditions we have to define these output values with the help of that if statement and do the comparison, and that way by doing the comparison we will be able to analyze the change in the trend or strength of the trend and then trade accordingly. Coming to the settings part, here the indicator can be calculated either on the bid side or on the ask side. So that's because the difference is there on account of spread. The applied price, whether you want to take the closing price for calculation of the highs or lows for last 25 hours, or you want to take the high values, or you want to take the low values, or you want to use other calculations like median price, typical price, weighted close price, time or volume. So you have to define these applied price here, and accordingly the AROON indicator will be calculated. If we try to edit here, we will also get the options. The applied price option is not here, but while defining the indicator on the Visual JForex platform, we get to define that as well. So here we are only getting these options to change the time period, the instrument or the side, and we have more options while developing the automated setup than looking at the chart manually, and that is also one of the advantage of the automated setup. So that's it from my side for today's session. I hope you have been able to understand the use of the AROON indicator, and you will be putting this indicator to use to see if you can develop the profitable setup with the help of this indicator. I will be back tomorrow with a new indicator. Till then, have a fabulous time ahead. See you tomorrow. Goodbye. Thank you for joining in.